Alright, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing well. Today we are back with another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video, and this is going to be the next video in the series, Which Hero Should I Be? Today we're going to be covering the Resistance heroes, which includes Rey, BB-8, and Finn. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Alright, and starting with our first hero, Finn. He is actually probably my favorite of the three. That's just personal preference of mine. His three abilities are Deadeye, Big Deal, and Undercover Team. I'll leave it up on screen if you want to read the description for each. And the star cards I recommend are the three that include his Deadeye ability. I believe that is his best ability, and it's just, to me, a waste of time to put the other star cards equipped for Finn. And you'll see a bunch of clips of me using Deadeye. It's just, I think it's broken. I don't want EA to fix it, but I don't see Finn getting used too often, so I am kind of surprised that he doesn't get a little bit more credit because of this ability. Anyway, Deadeye has a lock-on feature where it's almost like aimbot. As long as you're aiming near the target, it'll have a red square over said target that you're locked onto, and as long as you're aiming near that, the bullet will automatically go towards that target and hit them. It doesn't matter how you're aiming, you just need to aim in that area. The next ability I want to talk about is the Big Deal, which is what makes Finn such a great team player. As with most heroes, you do best if you stick with your team. That is the exact same case with Finn. However, there's an additional benefit with sticking with your team as Finn, because Big Deal not only boosts your health, but it also gives you unlimited blaster heat, so you can just keep firing. It's similar to the officer's ability, Battle Command, whereas this one will boost all friendlies within the circle. It'll give them that extra health that it's also giving you. It will give you unlimited blaster fire heat, and then it'll also give the friendlies in that circle around you the unlimited blaster heat, which is just a great way to push in Galactic Assault as well as Supremacy, because now we have Age of Resistance as a Supremacy option. Hopefully we'll be getting the original trilogy soon. The last ability I want to talk about is Undercover Team. This one I kind of tuck in my back pocket. It's not that it's bad or anything, I just find that Deadeye and Big Deal seem to come in a lot more use. They're a bit more handy, in my opinion, when it comes to Finn. You see the pistol, it kind of runs out pretty quick, but it is nice. It's a good extra ability you can have, and when you have that pistol activated, there's a little circle, kind of like Big Deal, and what it does is it spots all the enemies, so you can see them, as well as all teammates around you can see those enemies that you spotted, very similar to Rey's Insight ability. And that's going to do it for Finn. Let's move on to the next hero. BB-8 has 3 abilities plus 3 passive abilities, which is a little bit different than most heroes, who either have no passive abilities or 1 passive ability. Let's go over the abilities. It is Resistance Backing, Cable Spin, and Rolling Charge. Again, I'll leave it up if y'all want to read it. He also has 2 additional passive abilities that help teammates around him, as well as help him specifically to capture command posts and objectives. He actually counts as 2 players, so when he is sitting inside of an objective, he counts as a second player. So it's almost like you're controlling 2 people, but you're not. So let's go over his abilities real quick. We've got the Rolling Charge, which you saw me just use a second ago. We have the Cable Spin, which is probably my favorite ability of him, because it's so much more effective at killing enemies than his Shock Probe, which I find hard to use and does not consistently do damage. But moving back to his Cable Spin, I prefer star cards that boost his Cable Spin. The one, I think it's called Whirlwind, and it will increase the damage by 8 if you have it maxed out to that purple level, and it'll increase the radius by 2, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but oh boy, does it really extend that radius, and it makes it a great ability of his. I also enjoy the when hitting multiple enemies star card. It's called Spinner. It reduces the cooldown. If you have it fully upgraded, you only have to hit 2 enemies, and it reduces the cooldown by 10, which is nearly half of the cooldown, so it makes it really great if you want to go in, hit 2 enemies really quick, maybe even eliminate both of those enemies, then you evade that fight and let it recharge to its halfway point, because it gives you half of that back if you've hit 2 enemies, which is very nice. That last star card I used for him is called Self Repairs, and it just allows more health regeneration. I believe it's exactly 100 more, so if you lose 100 health, you can gain that back, more so than what the game already allows you to regain as BB-8. BB-8's a great hero. Once you figure out how to use him, I'd say he's probably one of the best heroes. You just need to know what kind of situations to avoid as him and what kind of situations to get yourself into to really make yourself an influential player when playing as him. The rolling charge I do like. If 2 enemies are close enough and you roll charge into one of them, it will do damage to both. Another thing I like is his third ability, which is resistance backing, and it scrambles enemies' radar as well as reveals enemies, and you can deal additional damage to those enemies that you have revealed, and that's not just you, that's teammates. So it's kind of like Dooku's expose weakness ability. If you've spotted those enemies, any of your teammates can do increased damage to those opponents that you have spotted, which makes him just a really good team player. Like I said again, these the droids BB-8 and BB-9E are going to be probably the best team-based heroes just because of their abilities and how they are set up as a hero. I kind of stay away from them in heroes versus villains. It's really tough to, like, imagine playing as BB-8 when you've got Kylo Ren, Darth Maul, General Grievous, and Darth Vader. Like, that's 4 saber heroes that are very tanky and will do a lot of damage, and you're just this little droid. You know, it seems to be a bit more of a supremacy and galactic assault type hero. So that's going to be it for BB-8, and now we're going to move on to our last hero. Now on to Rey, who's our last hero, but definitely not our least. Like usual, I save one of the best heroes for last. Rey is the only saber hero for the Resistance heroes, which I find a little annoying because I love lightsabers. I find them so easy to use in this game, and once you learn how to maneuver with your dashes and things like that, it makes it very easy. But on to Rey's 3 abilities: Insight, Dash Strike, and Mind Trick. You can pause the video and read them if you need. I prefer her star cards that I used to actually be very into Insight. I wanted a bigger radius and I wanted it to last longer. However, now I'm finding that since they've tweaked the game a little bit, since I used to use Rey quite often, it seems now that her abilities are better spent as the Street Fighter star card, which allows her to have less stamina drain, which is, I believe, 15%. And then we've got the Resilient Dash, where Rey takes less damage when she's dashing, and I believe that's 40%. Then the last one, which is the Damage Strike, which also buffs Rey's Dash Strike. So I typically stay away from Insight. I will use it, I just find it helps a little bit better when you're using on heavy targets like heroes or enforcers or even aerials, just because it does take a little while to recharge and it doesn't seem to affect certain players. Like, I've been playing the game long enough to where if I get hit with a Mind Trick by Rey, I'm not really affected. I just kind of change the way I play a little bit and stay away from her. But it is an interesting ability, and you can catch some players off guard when using it. So the Dash Strike is fun to combine with a Saber Slash. So you strike and then dash. That means that you're probably going to kill at least one opponent, and then you're going to damage 1 to 2 more after that first opponent that you've eliminated. Then Insight is a very great way to spot all those enemies and reveal them to your team as well, which I feel like I say this on every hero, makes her a great team player. Stick with your team, boys and girls. That is the key. That's the only key that you need to stay alive when being a hero. That is the best thing I can tell y'all, is stay with your team. Heroes are built to stay with your team. Darth Maul, maybe you can run off and do your own thing and be just as effective, but in my experience, staying with your team is the best thing you can do as a hero. So that's going to do it for Ray, and also this video, because I'm now realizing there's only 3 heroes. Normally there's 4. I hope they add a 4th one soon, but man, I can't think of what they would add. Maybe Poe in some way, but since he's a pilot, it'd be kind of hard to throw him in, you know? But I'm not going to keep ranting about the possibilities of what EA and DICE can do with the next update. I'm going to end the video here. I hope y'all enjoyed, and join me back tomorrow for my next video, which is going to be the Resistance villains. So Kylo Ren, BB-9E, and Captain Phasma. Hope y'all enjoyed, and have a great day.